Welcome to part 7 of chapter 6. In this part, we will talk about monitoring and controlling project schedules. Some of the most important goals when it comes to controlling the schedule of a project are as follows. First of all, you need to know the status of the schedule, meaning are you adhering to the schedule or you're lagging behind. You need to influence factors that cause schedule changes. For example, if something is delayed, you need to go back and see why it was delayed, whether something has to be changed in the work routines of your team members or in the type of resources available to them. Also, determining that the schedule has changed and managing that change. That involves communicating, adjusting your overall schedule estimates, and so forth. Some of the tools and techniques used for controlling the schedule are as follows: progress reports, asking your team members to generate from time to time reports about the progress that they have made between the last progress report and this progress report. Um, a schedule change control system. There needs to be a system for you to keep track of schedule changes. Um, Project management software is often used for that, including Microsoft Project, where you can create those schedules and you can also update them if something gets delayed. Also performing variance analysis, such as analyzing float or slack, seeing whether something is delayed or can be delayed, just the overall analysis of your schedule. And also performance management, linking the time dimension to scope and cost. And one of the techniques is earned value management, something that we will cover in detail in chapter 7. So some general suggestions for schedule control. You need to perform reality checks on schedules. You need to look at each of the elements of the schedule and ask yourself, does this look realistic or not? To make it realistic, you should allow for contingencies, so don't expect that everything will work out the way you plan it. So you need to add some time in case, to accommodate contingencies, meaning things that are unexpected, things that can go wrong. Don't plan for everyone and everything to work at 100% capacity. That's just not the nature of things. Because people get tired, people get disrupted, people get demotivated. So all those things, need to be taken into account. And usually they're taken into account if you don't expect everything to be at 100% capacity. Also, hold regular progress meeting with stakeholders and be clear and honest in communicating schedule changes and schedule issues. Typically, you may not get into big trouble if something gets delayed throughout the duration of the project. You will, as a project manager, you will get in trouble if you keep hiding those delays, and then towards the completion date, towards the agreed upon completion date for your project, everyone is expecting the project to be finished, but then you're coming back and saying, oh, by the way, we had so many delays, the project will be delayed for another 6 months. That's when things may backfire on you. So you need to be very clear about communicating all those scheduling issues. Now, there are some techniques for shortening a project schedule. Um, there are three ways, and personally, I believe that only one way is effective. First of all, scheduling durations of critical activities by changing their scope. So if you cannot do something, if you feel that you cannot do everything within the agreed upon deadline, then don't try to do everything. Just concentrate on what's important, right? So change the scope. Don't try to do a few things right and too many things wrong. Crashing activities meaning assigning additional activities to tasks for the lowest incremental cost. In other words, you are assigning additional resources, but not to the point where it becomes too expensive. Again, crashing may not always work because sometimes when you assign additional resources, things become more complicated. For example, if you assign additional team members to a particular task, then there will be coordination, communication issues, so things may actually slow down as opposed to becoming faster. And fast tracking involves doing activities, overlapping them, doing them in a parallel. I think both of them, crashing and fast tracking, may not be as effective as the first one, because when you multitask, you're switching your focus, you're switching your resources back and forth between those tasks, and because you're not focused on one particular activity, all of them will be delayed, right? So here's an example of completing task without multitasking. You concentrate on one task at a time, and you complete task 1 within 10 days, then task 2 after 20 days, and then task 3 after 30 days. But then look what happens when you switch back and forth between tasks. you end up completing task one at the after 20 days, not after 10 days, right? And this is just like a conceptual overview why multitasking delays things. In reality, when you switch between tasks so often, then you just distract your your attention. It takes time to reshuffle resources from one task to another. So in reality, you will complete it not in 30 days, but most likely in 40 or 50 days, right? Now, the most important thing when it comes to adhering to schedules is working with people issues. Strong leadership helps projects succeed more. Meaning, by success, we mean to deliver project on time than good per charts, right? Some good practices for managing people to make sure that they deliver everything on time is empowerment. Let people decide what is the best way to do things, what is the most efficient and effective way to do things. Give them incentives for working hard for delivering things on time. It can be as simple as bonuses or time off or promotions. Maintain discipline. Make sure people understand that adhering to schedules is important. And also negotiation. I mean, talk to people about the deadlines that you have in mind. Get their feedback. Once you get their feedback, first of all, you may have a more reliable or realistic estimate as to how long it will take to complete a particular task. But also, you'll get them on board from a political sense. I mean, if they agree with you on a particular deadline, now it's their deadline, not your deadline. Meaning, you're not imposing on them the deadline. They agree to adhere to a particular deadline. So this is their baby now, and they're more likely to be positive, to treat it with respect. So those are some, so people come first. If your team members, they're motivated, they're hardworking, they will do everything on time. If they're not, then no matter what kind of analysis techniques you use, most likely your project will be delayed. So this completes part 7 of chapter 6. Thank you for watching.